Well, we've talked about tags that we can put on titles and other ways that we can optimize the podcast for searchability. And I would kind of like us to take an ASMR angle.
Okay, yeah.
Because I don't think it's that hard. I think if I get one of those mic setups that's the weird one that's like the block with the ear on either side, and then I just move around it while I'm talking and do things like crinkle up a potato chip bag and instant success is what I'm saying.
Who was the podcast that did that? I can't remember.
I know what you're talking about. It was some audio drama.
Yeah.
That was the sound was very spatial.
Yeah.
Which there's a word for that too. It's not just stereo. It's this.
I want to say the something room, but
I don't know.
That doesn't sound right.
It's interesting.
Now I want to look through my history and find it, but it was like I love that kind of stuff, like the audio drama stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, and Apple devices have this feature. Again, I don't remember what it's called, but if you're wearing AirPods or I guess the big ones are called AirPods 2, right? AirPods Max.
I think so, yeah.
Which doesn't make sense, but if you're wearing Apple headphones and you move your head around relative to the screen, the stereo effect kind of changes.
Yeah.
Really? That sounds
I've noticed that.
Odd.
I didn't particularly care for it because I often listen to podcasts when I'm cleaning or cooking. Or,
you can turn it off and you can, you have control over that feature. But for a movie or something that's optimized for that, it's pretty cool.
Sure.
Now, if you're like me and you're just trying to watch Gladiator on your iPhone screen, less cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I imagine if you're someone that has a much larger TV, sure, I get it.
It's gonna kill me not
movies on my. Do you want to take a moment and look it up?
I am looking it up.
Okay.
My problem is I can't find it.
Watching movies on my phone, I've tried to do it once or twice, and it's just never. It's not a pleasant experience for me. It just doesn't work.
It's.
What do you mean? It's too small, or?
Yeah, and it's just it's hard to put into words. It doesn't feel like I'm watching them. It doesn't feel cinematic enough.
Right.
I don't know. It doesn't have the same I'm sitting down and watching a movie vibe.
Yeah, I feel that. I watch a lot of stuff on my iPad. I live in a place where I'm really hesitant to do anything particularly loud because I don't want to bother my neighbors. And I'm not even sure that they can hear me if I'm using my speakers, but I just don't use them because I hate it when I have to deal with other people's noise, so I'm very careful not to force mine upon others. So I have definitely gotten used to watching stuff on my iPad.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a typical bachelor sort of setup where I'm pretty light on furniture and have been for a long time. So it's been a long time since I've had a traditional couch in front of a TV kind of thing going on. So if I want to watch a movie, I can sit at my computer, basically sit in an office chair at a desk and watch it on a large monitor. Or I could go lay down in bed and watch it on my phone, or awkwardly put my laptop on a pillow or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I have not prioritized creating that kind of setup.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Now that we're talking about it, some games and movies and stuff like that it's really cool to be able to enjoy them on a big screen.
Yeah.
And I guess now that I think about it, big TVs are not nearly as expensive as they were.
No, they're not cheap. I got one last year around this time. Shepard actually helped me get it set up, but like getting it mounted, and it's a nice TV and it's huge, and it was like, I don't know, like it's $600 or something.
Yeah. No, we've talked about it before, and like TV pricing has gotten a lot more reasonable. But I've got like a couch and a TV, but I'm definitely becoming an old man where I need a bigger TV just to see what's going on. And I think I've also developed really bad habits where, like, the monitors that I have for my computer, they're 24-inch monitors, and I sit 2 feet away from them.
Real close. Yep.
Yeah. So, I'm just used to that now. So now
if I'm turn your head to see the entire monitor scape you have, you're probably doing something wrong.
Right. And so that means that if I've got a 55-inch TV, which I think is what I've got in my living room, and I'm 12 feet away from it, I'm squinting. I'm like, what's going on? I can't see what's happening on this TV, which is not good. My vision, I feel like, is definitely getting worse over time. Which, such is life. I did have I don't remember if I talked to you guys about this. I've been wearing contacts since I was 13 or something, and not all the time, but just I've had contacts. And as an adult, I really just don't care as much about wearing contacts. When I was younger, I didn't want to wear glasses because glasses were becoming more common, but they weren't as ubiquitous as they are now, where virtually everyone wears glasses. So I wanted to wear contacts so that I, looked cooler or whatever. And then I also played sports and stuff where it was just better not to have to wear glasses. I played soccer, so I could injure myself maybe a little bit or break my glasses if I'm heading the ball playing soccer with glasses on. As an adult, I just don't care about these things at all. So I only wear contacts so that I can wear sunglasses. Well, recently I got some prescription sunglasses, so it's the contacts are a thing of the past for me, basically. But boy, oh boy, were those prescription sunglasses expensive. Ended up costing me a lot more than I expected. I got them from Lens Crafters, and I had just gotten a new prescription, and plugged it in. And when I was looking on their site, a set of sunglasses that were just like the ones I have, it was those are $150 or something for these frames. I was like, oh, cool, all right, awesome. That's not very expensive. That's how much I paid for the non-prescription ones. And then by the time I was checking out, it was $450 or $500 for these prescription sunglasses. And I was like, why did this almost triple in cost? This is ridiculous. But I will say it's very, very nice having prescription sunglasses. So I don't regret the purchase. I was just shocked at how much it ended up costing.
At least in theory, you get to use them for a while. I know that once we get truly decrepit, your vision starts degrading pretty quickly. But these days, you can probably get a couple of years at them. Yeah,
and my vision is getting worse, but it's very slowly. If I'm wearing a set of glasses that's 7 years old, I can still see just fine with them. One of the things that I feel I should get, the older I get, is I should also get a pair of prescription safety glasses.
Yeah, I can get those through my work. I've been meaning to do it at some point.
I can get stuff like that through my work as well, but they're safety glasses inserts. So it's another set of lenses that you put behind your normal eye protective wear.
We can get actual safety glasses. And it's free, and I just haven't done it.
Yeah, that's something I want to just get See, the good thing about having the inserts though is that a lot of times your protective eyewear will get scratched up or something. If you're in an environment that requires them, a lot of times it's because there's actually something that's going on with it. Even if it's just weather over time stuff, not something actually, not something dangerous actually flying at your face. So if they're prescription though, that means that, the lens that is correcting your vision is getting scratched up and you have to replace them. If you have inserts, the inserts stay protected and you can just put them in new set of generic lenses or, protective wear. So that's the advantage of that. The disadvantage is that they look super dorky. So, you can do the math on how that averages out.
See, in my case, I'm wearing safety glasses so I can stand at a distance and observe other people doing work. So I think they'll last a good long while. I have confidence.
Oh, see, when I wear safety glasses, they make me very bold. And I just get my head right in there. Mm-hmm. I'm like hitting stuff with my eye. You know?
Yes.
Impressive.
In order to truly supervise, you have to be closer to the work than the people doing it.
Right. You have to become the work.
Yeah. I'll just have them read it to me and then I'll do it.
Well, I mean, both of you know me to be really an uncommonly handsome man.
Joe Rogan, look-alike, 7 feet tall.
Yes. Yeah, like 8-9 feet tall-ish. And I'd worn glasses forever. And last year, I shelled out the money to get PRK, which is like LASIK. And it was great. I had a great experience, and I can see very well now. They actually overcorrected me to 2015.
So if that's a thing that can happen, why do you mean you just got lucky and it happened to go well, or they said, oops, we accidentally made you, we didn't mean to give you better vision?
I mean, I'm not entirely sure. I think it might be they just try to make it as sharp as possible, and they advertise 2020. But I mean, I think even their promotional material said something along the lines of there's a non-trivial chance that it'll turn out even better than that. Mm-hmm. Because yeah, of course, why wouldn't they just try to make your vision as good as possible?
Sure.
I think they do. I don't understand the mechanism entirely. But I thought I looked better with glasses. It's a huge convenience thing to not have to wear them and to be able to wear sunglasses, and it makes stuff like working out or doing anything in the rain and things like that much easier. But I think I took a looks hit.
You could be one of those people who wears cosmetic glasses, you know?
Could be. You know, I don't think I can do it.
Don't find because you can get specialty lenses that just don't really do much for they set it up so that the overall refractive index is close to just normal.
Yeah.
But you can also go the super Chad route of wearing frames with no lenses in them.
With no lenses, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. Then you'd look really cool.
Yeah. And they're like, well, what are you doing? Why are you wearing glasses with no lenses? I'll be like, because my eyes fucking work just fine.
Idiot.
Yeah. And they'll be like, what?
Yeah. No, that's smart. I know when I wear kind of big nerd frames, and I used to a couple years ago, people gave me or compared it to Drew Carey, which I found unflattering. And then I lost a bunch of weight, and then I started getting a lot of Clark Kent, which I was like, oh yeah, now we're talking. But then recently I've grown a mustache, and now I'm getting a lot of Ron Swanson. So, no, I think the glasses are funny. I think again, I got glasses when I was 4. So I've had glasses for a very long time, and I know when I was that young, it was definitely still a little bit of you make fun of people for wearing glasses because it wasn't so common. I think that just that line has moved of how bad your vision should be before they tell you should wear glasses. Glasses have also gotten much more manageable. When I was really young, the glasses were still made of glass, and they were much thicker than they are now with the polycarbonate. So I think glasses have gotten a lot better. Still really expensive for no obvious reason.
Yeah, I'm not sure what is driving that price.
Uh-huh. It's big glasses.
Yeah, big glasses, big optometry.
Yeah.
But what's funny is I also don't know. I don't know why it takes us so long to make glasses. I was in Korea once, and I went to this glasses shop, and I just handed them my glasses. Not even a prescription. I just handed them what I was wearing. And then they just measured it, shot some light through it and got some measurements or something like that. And then they were like, come back in an hour and we'll have your new glasses ready. I was like, oh, really? And lo and behold, it only took them like an hour. And I was like, so why does it take me a month to get glasses when I go to the eye doctor here in the States? I don't know why.
Yeah, I have also been frustrated and confused by that. But, it's that next day Amazon delivery. It's spoiled me for so many things.
Yeah, I have no patience anymore.
It looks like just a quick Google search. It looks like there is maybe something close to a monopoly in the glass. I knew that was kind of a thing in the sunglasses world, but it looks like optical lenses as well.
Well, that's weird because Mr. Monopoly wears a monocle.
Yeah,
yeah,
I know, right? Luxottica?
That sounds like
company,
a porn website.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Its owned and licensed brands include Armani, Brooks Brothers, Burberry, Chanel, Coach, DKNY, Dolce & Gabbana, Michael Kors, Oakley. I've never heard of Oliver Peoples, but it owns that too. Polo, Ralph Lauren, Ray-Ban, Tiffany, Vogue. Yeah, okay, they own everything. And it also runs Lens Crafters and Target Optical and Sears Optical and Sunglass Hut. Okay, Jesus. So
how's that not like an
why
antitrust thing?
they can basically set their price. Yeah, weird.
Jack, call the White House.
Yeah, that is odd because that seems like it would be the target of an antitrust case if somebody cared.
Yeah, someone has to actually bring up the case.
Yeah, interesting.
I'm scrolling through a list of horror podcasts to try and find this one podcast, and I cannot for the life of me remember what this thing is called. Duncan, you're the one who told me about it. Can you remember?
I told you about it so I wouldn't have to remember.
Oh.
Forgot to remember that. I never really I listened to the No Sleep podcast for a little bit, and it was interesting for a while, but
That one's kind of all over the place.
it is kind of all over the place, and that's why I stopped listening to it. There was some really good stuff on there, but there was also a very good chance that you would listen to something that was not really that interesting, and that it would just be a very long episode with not a whole lot of content.
Some like creepypasta kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. But there were a couple of podcasts that I had downloaded and had intended to listen to that were like horror related. I don't remember what they were, but I don't know. Podcasts in general, I never really got into. I will listen to hours, but other than that, I pretty much never listen to anything. It was something that kind of disappointed me. Did any of you guys ever listen to Welcome to Night Vale?
No.
It was very like surreal, and it was pretty entertaining for the first. I don't know if they categorize them as seasons, but I listened to the first season and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. This was years ago, but it just got kookier and kookier over time. It felt like to me, and eventually it just stopped. Like, I don't know. It went too far.
What's it about? I've heard of it, but I have no idea.
It's about a town called Night Vale. It's essentially the like conceit of the show is that you're listening to a local radio show hosted by a guy named Cecil who lives in Night Vale. And he's just talking about the events in the town. And it's like crazy stuff that is like clearly unnatural and not okay, and it's treated as very mundane and normal. And that's where a lot of the surrealism comes from. And a lot of it is like just sort of offhand comments about things that don't make any sense. Like, they're pretty early on, it's established that there's a dog park and that it is very much recommended that you never set foot in the dog park, but it's never explained why.
Okay.
Or one of the episodes, there's just this like entity that appears in the sky called the glow cloud, and in subsequent episodes, people will just kind of randomly say, "All hail the glow cloud." But like, I don't know. It's an interesting concept, but I felt like it wasn't going anywhere, or at least it wasn't going anywhere fast enough for my tastes, so I stopped listening. I might go back and revisit it. I think it's done now. So if I see a total runtime and it seems manageable, I might give it another shot. But it was an interesting concept. It just didn't work for me at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I've listened to podcasts for a really long time. I will say, and this is something I think I might have talked about before. There was this cool, well, way back when I used to listen to the Rooster Teeth podcast, back when it was called the Drunk Tank podcast. This was in like 2009.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, long time ago. I had an iPod Touch, which for the youngins out there, an iPod Touch was an iPhone without the phone. They don't make them anymore. But when you were streaming a podcast, like from the, I don't even know if there was an Apple Podcast app yet at the time. But anyway, what they could do is like have time codes and then links up with pictures. So when Gus Sorolla would say, hey, I'll add that to the link dump, when they're talking about something, like on the screen would be like an associated picture, and then you click on it and it would bring you to whatever that link was. Now it's possible that there are still apps that do this, but like the Apple built-in one at the time used to do that, and it was really cool. And they don't do that anymore. And I wish they did, because that was nice. But whatever. What are you gonna do?
Now,
there does not appear on Apple Podcasts. There does not appear to be a horror podcast. Section.
Simplecast, there's not. Pocket Cast also doesn't have one. There's a fiction, and that's about as close as they get.
Yeah. So this is the same, and so the way a lot of this works is I think most sites have the same tags because that's how people tag their stuff. Yeah, it makes sense for it to be. The feed producers, right? That's where you tag it initially, and then so all of the places that receive those feeds just use the same ones, like the same tags. I talked a very long time ago about how like I think I had put ours in the wrong one, like instead of leisure it should have been in hobbies or whatever. Something like that. I do remember somebody told me to listen to the Magnus Archives, which I think is a horror-related thing. Yeah, I keep seeing that as I try to search through all of these podcasts.
I've never heard of that before.
The one podcast that everybody should listen to is the Sleepycast podcast, which is Chris O'Neill's podcast.
Oh, yeah. It used to be called The Sleepy Cabin, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
Those guys are just funny, man.
That's another one that's kind of inconsistent for me. But when they hit hard.
They do.
It is Sleepy Cabin. There was one episode pretty early on that I remember listening to where it's just them talking about how hot they think the green M&M is.
Oh, that's probably around the time of that really dumb controversy about the green M&M.
If you're easily offended, do not listen to Sleepy Cabin.
Okay, so this is really bugging me. So now I'm on iTunes looking through podcasts, and I clicked on fiction and then drama, and then if I say see all, it brings me to all-time bestsellers, and there's like a 8 by looks like 6 grid, and that's it, and there's no like next button. So are you telling me there's only 48 podcasts that fit in this category? I doubt that. God, I hate these interfaces. It's like Netflix, where they like,
oh yeah, it's just complete trash.
Well, yeah, and they like, it's very hard to find a list of like everything because they don't want you to like find the end of their catalog.
But on the other hand, there are more podcasts than there are people alive.
Right, exactly. Let's see. Maybe if I find that microphone you were talking about earlier, then I can figure out. It's like
getting a new microphone?
No. Duncan was talking earlier about like the
the ear thing.
Yeah, the ear microphone, the one that's like this Newman dummy head one, binaural stereo.
Yes,
like this crazy.
Those things look hilarious.
Yeah. So maybe if I can figure out who used this microphone.
So what was this podcast about?
Darkest Night. Was that it?
That's it.
Darkest Night. Oh my god. I probably passed by it like 500 times too. So the idea of this podcast was that there was this woman who was working for some company, and she was recording these, like, she had like a tape recorder in her like coat that she was like spying on this place. And what they were doing was they would take, like, I don't remember if it was like the skulls or the eyeballs or the brains or something from people who were dead, and then that would give them the ability to like relive their final moments and like see what happened to them. And so
potentially interesting.
She's doing some like corporate espionage kind of thing. And it was pretty good. I think I definitely enjoyed the first season, and then I think there was some I think it kind of fell off a little bit, but it was an interesting idea, and I think the actual audio of it was quite good, apart from like the weird binaural audio stuff, like just the radio drama stylings of it I thought were interesting.
But yeah, imagine a radio drama, but the sound is deliberately very spatial. Like, the door opens up behind you, and someone starts talking, and you turn around, and now you like. That was the gimmick of the podcast. Is it was binaural.
I do wonder how much most people are not out there with a reference set of headphones. And if you have fairly cheap headphones, especially if they're in ear, obviously left and right is going to be easy enough, but I don't know how well you would be able to distinguish front versus back.
It really depends on the headphones.
Yeah, I know.
Now, the other thing is, if you like, I mean, I don't know how most people listen to podcasts, but I don't think it's
they're in their anechoic chamber.
No, I mean, get a cup of coffee and then sit down in your favorite chair and just listen to your podcast. Like, I think most people, when they listen to podcasts, are like driving to work or going on a run or folding laundry, or it's not a medium that I think most people are dedicating all of their attention to. And so I think an effect like this, while cool, I bet that if you threw it at your average horror podcast listener and didn't tell them there's some weird spatial audio stuff going on here, most of them wouldn't notice. I
totally agree. Yeah, that was I remember when you were talking to me, this was like a selling point of it. But yeah, I don't know that it would have really occurred to me. I
might try it later. That sounds interesting.
Well, now I want to go listen to it again just because I thought it was cool. But I like audio storytelling. I think it's cool. There was a podcast that Marvel put out a couple years ago. I don't remember if this was leading up to some comic run or something like that, but it was a Wolverine podcast where it was these investigators from some, shady government organization type place were trying to track him down because it seemed like he was killing people, and then of course it ends up he's not, or he's not killing the wrong people or whatever. But it was a really good podcast, the first season of it. But I think what made it interesting was it was a podcast about Wolverine, but you weren't with Wolverine. He was the subject of an investigation where they're trying to track him down. I think season 2 had him as the main character, and it was much less interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Duncan's a big Marvel fan, so of course he.
I mean, it's almost hard for me to talk about because I'm so obsessed with Marvel. That
it's hard for you to talk about because it would require you to walk away from your 8-hour-a-day TV regimen that's necessary to keep up with
it. Yeah, which people have laughed at me about, but I maintain is incredibly important.
Mm-hmm. It's such a it's at. I think we've discussed this as well, so we're not going to belabor it too much. But it's to One Piece levels of there's too much stuff. I'm not going to start.
One Piece has 3,000 episodes.
Yeah, it's like a force field that's keeping me away from the subject matter.
I don't know anything about One Piece, but if it's just a lot of
he's gonna be king of the pirates.
If it's a lot of episodes of one thing, that's I think a lot more accessible because you can just start it at the beginning and then watch as much as you want and stop.
That's true. You can go in a straight line.
And but it's like Star Wars. I have some well, you know what? I'll go ahead and I'll just tell you right where I am on Star Wars right now. And that's, I grew up watching the original trilogy, liked it. I'm trying to remember how old I was roughly when... Yeah, I was around 40 when The Phantom Menace came out. Because I'm about 100 now. And I want to say I initially was liked and was very enthusiastic about the prequel stuff, and over time soured on those, as did many other people.
I wonder if Mr. Plinkett had anything to do with that.
I think it was well in advance of Mr. Plinkett, but
Mr. Plinkett probably crystallized a lot of it.
Mr. Plinkett did crystallize a lot of it.
I had zero beef with the prequels until I saw the Plinkett review, and I was like, because I hadn't seen them in so long at that point.
So don't get me wrong, I didn't hate the prequels. It was just I didn't hold them in as high regard.
I just remember when I saw The Phantom Menace, like, you know, cool fight scenes, great music, but just not really understanding, like, what was happening with all the... There was, like, a lot of politics.
Sure. Well, and hold on, I'm trying
to
trying to make a point and relate this back to the Marvel thing.
Well, let me make a point first.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm kidding.
Let's talk about the Magnus Archives.
Yes. But I mean, at this point, no surprise after Disney took over, it just became this content farm, where I don't know. They were like, look, I don't know how depleted this soil is, but I'm going to try to grow like every kind of crop I can simultaneously until there's just nothing left. And so I have friends that are, I have some friends that are, I guess are a similar age to me, and so they saw these things at about the same, at the same points in their life. And so you might think, okay, well maybe we'll have a similar outlook on like what's good and bad about Star Wars, and like I'm just done with Star Wars. I think it's annoying now. But this dude and his wife, like every piece of Star Wars content that comes out, like they gotta have it.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like they're not like collecting toys or anything like that, but every movie, every TV show.
Oh, I know people who are doing that too.
Yeah.
And I don't get it, because I see some of this stuff and I'm like, man, this is just trash.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
The only toy that I would want from Star Wars is that the Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru action figures.
Yeah.
Classic.
So stupid.
Yeah.
Put that in the links.
Good luck finding it.
But
Yeah,
it
it's on Etsy.
does strike me, not that this is terribly original, but it strikes me as just, I don't want to say exploitative, but I maybe like lacking in like true artistic or creative merit. You know, it's a big corporation that buys an intellectual property and then just goes for volume. You know what I mean?
Milks it.
Like, yeah, they're like, okay, we're just gonna make as much stuff as possible, and people will buy it. And then by the time this one's tapped out, if it ever is, like, we will have found another one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely know a lot of, like, Disney adults and then Star Wars adults.
Disney adults terrify me.
It's again, I'm passionate about things too, so I'm not trying to just be, like, overly judgmental about it.
I think passion's lame.
Oh, your passion sucks. You shouldn't be.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be excited about anything ever.
Right.
That's for idiots.
Yeah. I'm too cool to enjoy things.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna begrudge anyone their hobbies if it's not hurting anyone, but it's just I just don't understand. It's such a time sink for no return. And I kind of feel bad even making the comment, because I play video games, but at least I'm doing something, right? Like, I'm not just sitting there.
Well, you're doing something for no return.
Yes.
So, like, what's the difference?
I understand where they're coming from, but it doesn't feel understandable to me.
Yeah.
That's something that I've been thinking about a lot. We talked a lot last Table Talk about, like, MMOs, and that I think is a very, like, standard hobby for people to criticize. You know, it's like, oh yeah, you know, no return. Like you're just sinking a lot of time into it and stuff like that. But I think, you know, on the outside of any hobby, you can look at them and say like, yeah, that's a waste of time. You know, oh, you watch a lot of TV. Oh, you play a lot of golf. What's the point of that? Oh, you do, you know, I don't know. You paint. Okay, you have a painting at the end. Who cares? Like, you know, from the outside of any hobby, you can look at it and say that's pointless. And so I want to be slower to criticize other people's hobbies just because I don't personally derive any value from it.
Well, I want to be faster to do it because I want to beat them to the punch.
Oh, I
Nice.
see.
Well, and I'm still only like halfway through the most recent Down the Rabbit Hole on EVE Online,
It's so good. It's amazing.
which is just a gargantuan, like 6-hour documentary.
Uh-huh. It's amazing. I'm currently on my second watch of it. It's I don't know. I think it's super duper interesting and very detailed. And a good way for someone on the outside to look at what otherwise would be a very opaque game or hobby.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm on the, you know, as I was digging up the Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru thing, which is on Etsy. You can get it yourself for $85.
Hey, not bad.
There's some pretty rough stuff going on. There's a 3D resin printed Slave Ray statue. And it's naked.
Well,
good.
I have a friend. We have a friend that might be getting that for Christmas.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I know which one this is.
Here, I will post the link.
This friend would love this. Yeah.
I
don't know if he
not
listens
put the
to the
word
podcast.
slave in our link dump. I'm just going to say not safe for work Ray action figure.
Great. Oh, Etsy.
And truly the the highest of highs and the lowest of lows.
Good news, totally unrelated. I am done updating all of our thumbnails in podcast, so that's good.
Nice.
I was telling Jack earlier, I realized that even all our old like Curse of Strahd thumbnails are all now the flying saucer one, which doesn't quite fit. So we now have different thumbnails for Table Talk, the Delta Green sessions, the Red Grove sessions, the Witch Hunt sessions, and the Downtime sessions. So
Huge.
woo. Oh my god.
It's pretty bad.
Oh. This is
She's
worse than I thought.
This is like a Skyrim body model. This is like really weird.
It doesn't even really look like her.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, I gotta zoom in and enhance here. Yeah, if you didn't tell me that was Ray, I don't know that I would.
It looks more like the actress from Rogue One.
Her hair was darker.
maybe. Well, but I think that's just the lighting. I think it's supposed to be.
I don't. Yeah,
Very dark.
if you put that in front of me and said, "Who is this?" I wouldn't think Ray.
Yeah.
I'd be
No,
like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'd be like that. Well, I think, but again, also the body model is also so strange that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty
There's
bizarre.
there's a lot not to like about this.
Yeah. I think Skyrim is the apt comparison.
Yeah, it definitely
here.
looks like a loading screen thing that you can spin around.
Exactly.
Calling
All right,
to
so-
Dragon's Reach.
Yeah, who? Let me guess. Someone stole your sweet roll. Yeah, I'm not impressed. Okay.
Man, I gotta get me a 3D printer.
Yeah, I really don't. The last thing I need is more junk. I think I've done a decent job in the past couple years of like not just buying extra stuff, but since I take good care of my stuff, it tends to last a while. And I don't tend to throw stuff away without cause. So I'm not like a hoarder or anything, but I do have like, like my containers of cables and stuff like that for all the various sundry electronics that I have. Because I also I tend to save power cords if it's a standard one. That kind of thing. And so I've ended up with a lot of stuff like that. I've got a lot of books, which I'll never get rid of on principle. But I also I save the boxes for things that I still own. So for example, the box that my Nintendo Switch came in, I still have it so that when I move, I don't need to like come up with some innovative solution for backing it. Like I've got the box that's designed to hold this thing safely. What I mean to say is like I do have stuff around the house that is not like currently in use, but it serves a purpose. So the last thing I need is a way to generate more nonsense.
But you could make works of art like these.
This is true.
And sell them for profit. Or not.
Yeah.
You remember a couple of months ago, we were finding a bunch of Among Us figures.
I don't remember this.
Let me see if I can find them. I
realized. Oh, go on.
You'll remember when you see them. Oh yeah, there's also if you remember the rock frog.
Yeah, I do remember the rock frog. I realized that I also need to add the default picture right now for late afternoon gaming is the flying saucer one. But I need to actually save that as the thumbnail for all our Delta Green ones, because later on, if we change it to something else, so for example, when I hopefully end up running the DCC campaign, if I have a new default one, then it'll change all of these to that if I don't have another saved as its primary.
Is there a way to just say, I want to look at all posts that I sent?
I'm sure there is. You're talking about a filter in Discord?
Just from user, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, now I gotta get on Etsy again.
It is almost, Christmas is quickly approaching.
It's true.
And I have not thought of what I'm getting anybody yet. So I should probably do that soon. Maybe that's a task for this week. It being around mid-November now.
I don't get the rock stuff.
Yeah, neither do I. Is he still, like, for a while he was kind of a media darling. I haven't heard about him much, but I'm also not in, like, I don't read the kind of things where I would have the opportunity to hear about him.
I don't know. I mean, he starred in, I think, a Marvel movie that didn't do well.
Oh, no,
that was DC.
He started
that
DC.
Was Black Adam.
He was Black Adam, yeah. Yeah, I heard about that, even though I have even less interest in that than I do in Marvel.
I don't know the difference. I mean, I get it that it's two different universes. But, you like throw a random character at me and say, like, which one is this, Marvel or DC? And I don't know.
I used to read a lot of Batman comics, so that was something that I didn't really care about, but it was like, I wasn't like, oh, DC's better than Marvel.
So you're a DC guy? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm a DC guy.
You're a DC guy.
For sure. Yeah, but no, that was something that I kind of learned the difference while reading Batman, but not something that I've kept up with.
Hey, who do you guys think would win in a fight?
Marvel or DC?
Yeah,
Marvel. Well, I think Marvel, because I think they've got like 5,000 heroes for some reason.
Yeah.
But the answer is Batman. Batman wins every fight. So, because he plans better. That's his thing.
Nice.
Wonder if I do a search for dumbest Marvel heroes. I wonder what kind of thing I'm gonna come up with here.
Some Cracked article from 2012.
What happened to Cracked? Are they still around?
I think they are. They're probably like owned by Vox or something. Oh boy, this sucks. Yeah, it's also not. This doesn't look healthy. Like the most recent articles I've got have one comment.
Oh no! Oh no!
So.
Are they really political now?
Ooh, yeah, this is bad. This looks pretty bad. Oh, Cracked. I'm so sorry. Is Daniel O'Brien still working there?
Man, back in the day, Cracked was... It was funny, but I also, several times, was like, that doesn't seem real, and actually did some digging, and it looked like they didn't do a ton of, like, verifications on the things.
You don't think they did a ton of research at Cracked?
No,
I don't believe it.
Maybe they did, and they just thought it was, it's a comedy site, so maybe they just weren't super concerned about being 100% accurate. But they were kind of presenting it as this is real stuff that's just stupid. Okay, apparently Thanos has a brother named Star Fox.
Okay, cool.
Who his power is psychic control over the emotions of others,
Okay.
which he mostly uses for charming people. And in the comic, he was put on trial for sexual assault.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
It's just like Canary from Worm.
What the fuck? Yeah, let's talk about Worm again.
Hey, have we ever talked about Worm?
Yeah.
What's that?
I don't know. It's just something I say
Do you
sometimes.
think, you know how we have at the top of the link dump, like a couple of things that are just always there?
You
think we
just
should
put
add
Worm in there.
Worm. Yeah.
Well, you know what's funny? So I was looking through, I despite the fact that we have no viewers or anything, I looked through our analytics on YouTube, and one of our table talks, it said like the place that like people came to our podcast from, like a video they were watching where ours was on the side and they clicked on it. It said Parahumans on it. And I was like, oh,
Really?
we're linked in.
John McRae, hit us up.
Yeah, please, Wildbow.
Come play in my
Make me a
game.
character. Yeah, come play D&D with us or whatever. Write us a campaign that we can play.
Well, that'd be awesome.
Well, yeah, no doubt. And as a follow-up from last week, no one from Goodman Games, to my knowledge, has reached out to us saying that, yeah, it was definitely them that were those 3 extra subscribers. So
Okay, so probably not.
So my speculation, might have been
We'll just assume it was them.
incorrect. Yeah.
They
They haven't emailed me. They haven't commented anywhere. I'm still waiting to be able to get onto the DCC forums. Which apparently is just straight up impossible.
But I mean,
Pretty exclusive club.
think about how good it's going to feel when you do get the access. It's not just anyone.
I was like, what's going on?
You have to put in the work.
Bang. I've asked their I've sent a email to the administrator twice trying to get in, and it hasn't worked yet. So
Do you
yeah,
think
there's
we could do
definitely
like a hostile takeover of DCC? Are they a
maybe.
publicly traded company?
Probably not.
I'm not trying this again. I checked. I searched it, and on Reddit, someone was saying that it took them like 6 months to get their confirmation email.
It gets faxed to you.
Yeah. Nice.
So this is like, it's a known issue. So I wasn't gonna like. I had sent an email to Goodman Games asking that the podcasting question before. I'm not gonna flood them with like, hey, also can you let me into your forums, please? I just wanted to ask a couple questions about some things that were unclear in the rule books.
I just want to ask you a couple of questions.
I just want to ask you questions.
Oh, I don't know if I want to link that.
Yeah, maybe not.
What a terrifying thing.
But yeah, so I wanted to ask a few questions, and apparently they've got a Discord, but I don't want to do it on Discord. And apparently, well, the Reddit forum, I don't know, I just don't feel like it. I just wanted to be a part of their forums and like ask questions, and I like forums. I like forum pages as opposed to like, oh, we've got a Reddit, or we've got a Discord. Those are fine for like just, I think, talking to people, but I think like an actual forum with separated topics is like really, really useful, and I like those kinds of communities. And so that is, on top of just having questions I want to ask, I want to be a part of that community and
You
talk
don't
to these
just
people.
want to ask questions. You want to control the way they answer you.
Sure. D&D Beyond had, I don't know if they still do because I haven't been on the forums in a very long time, but they had a really good...
Yeah, because on this podcast,
Forum.
we're anti-Wizards of the Coast.
I mean, I'm still running games in D&D, but...
Yeah, has that blown over at this point? How do people feel about
The
D&D?
OGL stuff? Yeah. I don't know to what degree they walked any of that back, because obviously there was a lot of pushback from people in the community.
Well, a lot of fairly large creators were talking about like moving to different systems or making their own systems, and I don't know if any of that got followed through on.
Yeah, well, I know that Matt Colville had already been making his own system, and his take was like, this is something that he had seen coming since 4th edition, and so he had been, on the side working on his own stuff, and then he was like, I'm just accelerating that. Like, it's going to be out sooner now, and I'm going to be using that instead. So, because ultimately the people it affected the most were, like, directly were people who were making third-party content, like modules, or they were, making podcasts or whatever. and for a podcast, it was only like, the couple at the very top that it would ever actually affect directly. It affected everyone else indirectly by disincentivizing people from continuing to make that third-party content, which is one of the things that made D&D, really fun, was that there's all this extra stuff out there that you can kind of, mix and match and, use it to make your own game or whatever. So I don't know to what degree they maintained that or, turned it off or whatever. I don't know. That's why we should be playing Pathfinder.
No.
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 Character progression is simple.
I really liked the Pathfinder thing that Nerf ran a couple months ago. It was really fun. Maybe one day he'll return to us.
Maybe.
Perhaps.
Now here he's had 7 new kids, so...
Well,
I wish people just wouldn't... I'm okay with humanity ending if it means I get to hang out with my friends more often.
yeah, I agree.